In the patchwork quilt of Midwestern America, there nestled a somnolent enclave named Hammond, Indiana. A stillness clung to its yawning landscapes, whispering through wind-rustled leaves and quaint suburban streets. Here, time seemed to have conspired with tranquility, turning this township into an understated tableau of America's heartland. Ensconced within this quiet symmetry was Jack McAllister's residence, a weathered sentinel of brick and oak that bore the silent tales of yesteryears. A place where the past echoed, and every nick and chip on the furniture whispered anecdotes of life, love, and loss. The heart of this abode was Jack's office, an ordered chaos of half-written drafts, old newspaper clippings, and worn books. Amid this, he sat hunched over his mahogany desk, bathed in the pensive light from a solitary table lamp. His fingers traced the edges of a newspaper article about the eerie disappearances around the Hammond police station. His blue eyes, mirrors to a lifetime of stories, were shadowed by a hardness etched by experience. They now danced across lines of black and white print. His brow furrowed, the seed of intrigue planted. His gaze shifted to a photograph on the desk, his wife, with her radiant smile, captured in an eternal moment. "Martha," he murmured. His voice was a river, its flow steeped in a blend of longing and love, and the barest trace of regret. His fingers gingerly brushed the edges of the photograph, a tactile bridge to the past. As he continued perusing the article, the walls around him started to bleed. Inky shadows crawled at the edges of his vision, twisting into monstrous shapes. He could hear the hushed whispers, an inaudible chorus that swelled within his mind, the spectral chorus of his schizophrenia. He closed his eyes, steadied his breath, and fought the emerging phantoms. A picture of his daughter Ellie caught his eye next. In her smile, he found his motivation. He needed to protect her from the world's horrors, both real and those that lurked in the depths of the human mind. The ticking of the clock echoed through the room, grounding him. The spectral chorus receded into the shadows, surrendering him back to reality. It was then he decided. He dived deep into this mysterious narrative unfolding around the Hammond police station. The whispers of his mind were drowned by the whispers of the night, and the story that called him from beyond the mundane. A slow, purposeful smile unfolded on his lips. It was a smile that knew the risks and yet dared to challenge the ensuing storm. The journalist in him was ready, willing to lift the veil on a story that demanded the light of day, not knowing he was about to step into a world far removed from the light. His reflection in the glass of the photograph nodded back at him. It was time for his persistent spirit to plunge once again into the dark labyrinth of truth, with the first path leading to Reverend Eli's church. The ephemeral serenity of Hammond's dawn was a watercolor painting, the town awash with hues of rose and gold. Amid this tranquil canvas, a black iron steeple reached towards the heavens, casting long, ominous shadows. It was within the walls of this imposing edifice, the Church of Divine Grace, where Reverend Eli shaped his flock. The congregation's fervor resonated through the church's Gothic arches as Jack slipped into the back pew. The air was thick with piety, every corner echoing with hushed prayers and murmured hymns. His eyes, hardened by time and truths, studied the spectacle. There was a peculiar magnetism about Reverend Eli. His voice had the timbre of a soothing balm, while his words seared like fire. "Salvation lies in unity, in our divine communion." Eli's voice boomed, his eyes twinkling with a fervor that bordered on fanaticism. Jack jotted down notes, his pen scratching against paper like a telltale heartbeat in the silence. His gaze turned to the congregation, a tableau of entranced faces, clinging to every word from the preacher's mouth. Among them, he recognized faces from missing person flyers, their smiling portraits belying the haunting emptiness in their eyes. Suddenly, his thoughts were intruded upon by his spectral chorus, the voices growing louder. They twisted Reverend Eli's words into monstrous whispers, transforming prayers into macabre hymns. His heart pounded, his grip on reality slipping. An old lady, her face etched with years and wisdom, turned to him. "You must be new. You'll feel at peace here," she whispered, her eyes sparkling with a fanatic's glow. The promise of peace tantalized him, even as his journalist instinct recoiled. In the quiet of his home office that night, he replayed the day's events. He wrestled with his mental specters while poring over the connections between the Reverend, his congregation, and the unexplained disappearances. His hallucinations, the midnight whispers, grew increasingly insidious, murmuring secrets of a reality too terrible to bear. One name connected all threads: Eli. Jack resolved to infiltrate the Reverend's inner circle, the shadows in his mind driving him towards a pit he felt ill-prepared to descend. The phantoms in his schizophrenia were nothing compared to the lurking monstrosity he was yet to uncover. His gaze fell upon the smiling pictures of Martha and Ellie. The protective instinct, a primal force, surged within him. He understood now that he wasn't just a reporter chasing a story. He was a guardian standing at the threshold of a dark abyss, ready to face whatever horrors lay within. As he braced himself for the dark plunge, the evening air carried an ethereal hymn from the distant church, an ominous lullaby that marked the end of innocence. On an overcast night under the waxing gibbous moon's watchful gaze, Jack found himself at the Hammond police station, its facade shrouded in an unnatural darkness. Its stoic edifice seemed to hide in its bosom secrets vile enough to unsettle the foundations of reality. Inside, hushed whispers slithered along the corridors, reaching his ears as he hid in the shadows, a phantom among phantoms. His heart echoed in the chilling silence, matching rhythm with the growing whispers of his hallucinations. Out of the shadows emerged Reverend Eli and his devout followers, their figures distorted through the frosted glass of the station's office. His eyes lingered on the missing faces from the congregation, their eyes now bearing the mark of a terrifying transformation. Among them, he noticed the stern faces of uniformed officers, their badges gleaming ominously under the weak fluorescent light. Suddenly, a gut-wrenching smell permeated the air, a metallic odor, familiar and chilling, the scent of blood. His stomach churned as reality unveiled itself, a grotesque tableau taking center stage. The divine communion was nothing but a cannibalistic feast. Each detail etched into his mind was an abomination against nature, a vile orchestra playing a symphony of cosmic horror. As a silver chalice filled with crimson was raised in unholy reverence, the participants joined in a grotesque chorus, their voices ricocheting off the cold, heartless walls. The taste of bile rose in his throat, a primal reaction to an unthinkable reality. His journalistic resolve warred with his human revulsion, a battle fought in the shadows of his mind, paralleling the silent conflict with his schizophrenia. His hallucinations intruded upon the scene, the line between the spectral chorus and the cult's grotesque hymns blurring. Was he a silent spectator or a participant in his mind's twisted theater? His hands clutched the edges of his notepad, the sharp edges grounding him to reality. Outside, as the unholy ceremony reached its crescendo, he retreated into the chilling night, the echoes of the macabre feast etched into his soul. His world was spinning, his grip on reality growing thin. He found himself standing on a precipice, the yawning abyss of insanity on one side and a monstrous reality on the other. Haunted by the night's revelations, he knew he faced an insidious foe. His world was being invaded by cosmic horrors, things that lurked in the shadows between reality and nightmare, things that ate away at human sanity and flesh. With each step towards home, he grappled with the monstrous reality. The safe, comforting world he knew was being consumed by an ancient, indifferent malevolence. His protection, his family's protection, demanded a sacrifice he was unsure he could make. The sun would rise, oblivious to the cosmic terror that danced in the night's embrace. It would cast its light on him, who stood on the precipice of a choice: to fight, to flee, or to join the dark power that promised him deliverance from his mental torment. Hammond, once a serene canvas painted with heartland Americana, now reflected an alien landscape within Jack's traumatized perception. The sun's warmth had grown indifferent, and the once comforting silence had mutated into a mocking whisper of the town's unspeakable secret. At the heart of this nightmare was his home office, now a battleground of his mental torment. The walls pulsated with the macabre memories of the unholy communion. Each breath he took echoed with the taste of metallic horror. His eyes fell upon the photographs of Martha and Ellie, the faces that had been his anchors in the tempest of his schizophrenic hallucinations. Now they were lifelines threading him to the reality he wished to preserve for them. The protective flame that Martha had kindled within him now threatened to be swallowed by the cosmic abyss. As the town fell under the cover of another unsuspecting night, he found himself in the church's haunting embrace once more. This time, Reverend Eli was expecting him. "We've been waiting for you, Jack." Eli's voice slithered through the air, coated in an eerie sweetness. His eyes, glowing with otherworldly fervor, met Jack's, the unspoken question hanging between them, as tangible as the incense-laden air. "I offer you peace, Jack, a respite from your torment." Eli extended his hand, an invitation to the abyss. The whispers of the congregation, an unholy chorus, urged him forward. His spectral chorus rose, merging with the church's grotesque hymns. Reality and hallucination intertwined, warping his perception. He saw two paths. One, a life of continued torment. The other, an alien peace in embracing the cosmic horror that had consumed his town. It was then that his eyes fell on a familiar face among the congregants, the wise old lady from his first visit. In her eyes, he saw the reflection of his own terror, but also an eerie contentment. A chilling revelation washed over him. The voices in their heads had been silenced, replaced with the monstrous hum of an ancient cosmic entity. The realization was a monstrous specter looming over his sanity. A desperate glance at Eli confirmed the unspeakable truth. The path to silence his mind's torment lay in embracing the cannibalistic communion. With trembling hands, he accepted the silver chalice, its crimson content a mirror to his own horror. As he took the first sacrilegious sip, his world plunged into a sinister silence. His spectral chorus, the haunting whispers, ceased, replaced by the ancient cosmic hum. His final action was a testament to his love for his family, his need to protect them from both the world's horrors and his own. As the abyss of cosmic horror gazed back, Jack McAllister gazed back unflinchingly, surrendering his own humanity for a terrifying tranquility. Once an unyielding guardian of reality, he was now swallowed by the monstrous maw of cosmic horror. He stood as a chilling monument to humanity's insignificance in the face of the universe's indifferent cruelty, a poignant reminder of our desperation for peace, no matter how monstrous the price. We appreciate you tuning in. If you fancied the content, show your support with a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to keep up with our eerie adventures. Eldritch Tales Factory has plenty more to offer. Until next time.